You mentioned that you go hours sometimes without thinking. Did that experience just come upon you spontaneously, naturally, or is it something that you in some way intentionally settle into because you enjoy it?
So I would say that one of the most immediate and powerful byproducts or consequences of this strange thing that happened to me during this retreat was, again, twofold. First of all, becoming so incredibly aware that there is a thinking machine in the mind that is constantly operating that it becomes impossible to ignore any, anything that streams through the process of the mind. And so I think that the in the sort of depth that I felt in that moment, there something of a separation took place. And so within that internal distance and space within, it became so clear who was the witness and who was the thinking being thought. Um, and from that greater distance, it became impossible to avoid anything that came to thinking. And very naturally, whilst that distance sort of amplified internally and that spaciousness lingered, what happened without me realizing it, was just um, a slowing down of thinking. I think, yeah, I just very naturally, without even choosing to, started thinking way less, very little. Of course, I still think in some days more than others, that's normal. But the sort of white noise, the broken radio at the corner of a room, that sort of constant sports radio presenter, commentator commenting on absolutely everything, that subsided to an extent that was quite drastic and became a new sort of normal. But yes, yeah.
That's really nice. Yeah, most people's minds are, like you say, several radios playing at the same time, and a lot of energy is wasted with all those superfluous, extraneous, irrelevant thoughts. And I've often read and heard it described, and that in a more enlightened state of functioning, you don't stop thinking, but you have thoughts that are worth having, that are relevant, that are pertinent to the situation. And when the situation doesn't call for any thoughts, you may not have any. Same with
Well,
dreams. I
yeah,
think I heard
yeah.
you say that you don't dream very much anymore.
No, I don't think I do. I mean, although it's hard because sometimes you don't remember your dream, do you? So it's a harder one to sort of pinpoint. But no, I don't dream. I don't dream a lot. No,
Yeah.
no. And I think when it comes to thought, it's also marking the clear difference between what is your thought, a thought incarnated by an individual impulse, and what Krishnamurti says when he says, you think you're thinking your thought, but you're not. You're thinking society's thoughts. This processes of data are flashing through you that the mind grabs and holds on to and tries to make sense of and meaning of and create patterns around. But they're not your thoughts. They're just sort of like collecting, being thought through you. Um, and that quality of thinking subsides greatly. Yes. Of course, when a situation arises where you need thinking, then thinking becomes an incredible tool. But as everyone says, great servant, not great master. So obviously that shift is becomes clearer with time. Yes.
Yeah. It's said that a lot of thinking is just the action, impression, desire cycle playing
Yeah.
itself out, which is kind of an habituation or an addiction, really.